Hi YouTube, Tim Eckert here. In this video, we're going to find the missing sides and angles of a right triangle. And those missing sides will round up to the nearest hundredth place if we have to. And so we've got this first triangle here, and what we'll be given is one of the angles that's not 90 degrees and also one of the sides. So we have the 90 degree angle here, we have 32 degrees, we're given that, and we have this side opposite that of 6. So we want to find the hypotenuse, let's call that C. And we want to find this missing leg here, let's call that B. We also want to find this angle. And the angle is the easiest thing to find because we have a 90 degree angle here. And these two angles have to add to 90 degrees because 90 plus 90 equals 180. And the interior angles must sum up to 180 degrees. So if I add 58 degrees to 32 degrees, that'll bring me to 90 degrees. So this missing angle is 58 degrees. So that was fairly easy. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to use some of our trig functions to find B and C. So if I looked at this angle here, if I say the sine of 32 degrees, well, that's going to equal the opposite side, 6, divided by the hypotenuse, okay? And so what we'll do is we'll multiply both sides by the hypotenuse to rearrange this equation. And these will cancel. So we'll get C times the sine of 32 degrees is equal to 6. And then we'll divide both sides by the sine of 32 degrees. And these will cancel. And so it'll be C is equal to 6 divided by the sine of 32 degrees. So we'll go over to Desmos here. And one thing you got to check with Desmos is you got to check that it's not in radians, that it's in degrees. And typically it's in radians to start. So make sure degrees is highlighted, and then you should be good to go. And we're doing 6 divided by the sine of 32 degrees. So we'll do 6 divided by the sine of 32 degrees. And we get 11.322, which we're going to keep as 11.32 because we're rounding to the nearest hundredth place. So this will be 11.32. Okay, and now we want to find B. So one way we can do this, if we want to find B, is we can say that the tangent of 32 degrees is going to equal the opposite side 6 over the adjacent side B. Okay, just like we did in the first one, we'll rearrange this to say B equals 6 divided by the tangent of 32 degrees. And we'll do that one out. So 6 divided by the tangent of 32 degrees. And we get 9.60. Okay, and we're checking as we do this that yes, degrees is highlighted, not radians. So we're good. Okay, let's look at, well, we found B, we found C, and we found the other missing angle. So we're good on this one. Let's now move down to number 2, and you may want to pause the video and try this one yourself. And while you're pausing the video, you might want to smash that like button. And okay, let's go. So we've got this angle here, 55 degrees. We've got this missing angle here. So what's that going to be? Well, 55 degrees plus 35 degrees will give me 90 degrees. So this angle has to be 35 degrees. Now we can figure out some of these missing sides here. Let's call this one A this time, and we'll call this C still. So one thing I can say is I can say that if I want to find A, I could say that the tangent of 55 degrees equals A, the opposite side over 17. So if I multiply both sides by 17, I get A equals, these will cancel, I get A equals 17 times the tangent of 55 degrees, which equals, well, let's see, 17 times the tangent of 55 degrees is 24.278, which will round to 24.28. So 24.28. So this side is 24.28, and we also want to find the hypotenuse C. So to do that, we can say that the cosine of 55 degrees, so the cosine of 55 degrees equals the adjacent side 17 over C. And we can flip these like we did in the first problem, so we can say C equals 17 divided by the cosine of 55 degrees. So C is going to equal, go to Desmos here, 17 divided by the cosine of 55 degrees. It's going to be 29.64 if we round to the nearest hundredth. So C equals 29.64. So we found this side, and the missing angle. So we're good with that one. Okay, let's go down to this third one here. Now this third one's a little bit different because we have the angle in radians. So we're going to first want to go to Desmos here, and we're going to delete everything. And then we want to check, and we'll see it pops it back to radians. So normally the default is radians. It's now highlighted radians, which is good. It's what we want. And so we'll leave that as is. Okay, so now we've got pi over 6 radians here. 90 degrees is pi over 2 radians. And the interior angles in radians will be pi radians. So this pi over 6 here has to add to something to get another pi over 2. So it would have to add to 2 pi over 6 to get 3 pi over 6, which would be pi over 2. 2 pi over 6 is just 1 pi over 3. So this is going to be pi over 3 radians here. So we found the missing angle in radians. Now we've just got to go ahead and find the missing sides. Let's call this one A. Let's call this one B. So we can say that the tangent of pi over 6 radians equals the opposite side 24 over A. Just like the previous first problem, I can say A equals 24 divided by the tangent of pi over 6. Just taking a look, let's see, so opposite over adjacent, that's good. Okay, let's go here to Desmos. So we're going to have 24 divided by the tangent, and then we want in parentheses, this is going to be pi divided by 6. So let's bring this up here, and we've got our pi, and then we're going to divide that by 6. And if we do that, we get 41.569. So I'm just going to put that as 41.57. So this is going to be 41.57. Okay. And now, and that makes sense because pi over 3 is larger than pi over 6, even though the drawing doesn't necessarily reflect that. You have to pay attention to what's actually written. So this side, the opposite side, should be larger than 24. Okay, so now let's look at, well, let's just call this C because, you know, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We'll call it C. So C here, if we have pi over 6, we can do the sine of pi over 6 equals the opposite side 24 over the hypotenuse C. We can flip these like we did in the first problem, so we can say C equals 24 divided by the sine of pi over 6. And if we do that out, 24 divided by the sine of pi divided by 6, we get 48. Okay, so we get 48 exactly, and we don't have to round. Now, pi over 6 is 30 degrees. So that does make complete sense. That means that if I take this and multiply it by 2, I would get 48. So that's another way we could think about this. So this is 30 degrees. If you knew that, you would take the side opposite 30 degrees and double it. And you would take the side opposite 30 degrees and multiply by the square root of 3 to get this. Okay, and let's just illustrate that. So if we go in here and we do 24 times the square root of 3, we get our 41.57. Okay, hopefully this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want to check out some of my worksheets, I'll leave a link to that in the description, as well as a link to my website. Hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.